Okay, good morning. It's Monday morning, 11 o'clock, and we're off for a brand new week. So, just before we start, just let's see who's going to be joining us at this beginning of the week. So, this is fantastic. So, we're already getting people coming in. Just tell me you're here. Hi, Kevin. Malcolm's here. Louis Faber's here. Kevin's here. We're all coming in. This is a community. This is a community we're building. We're going to be here at 11 o'clock every morning, UK time. We're going to get people in from all over the world. So please share, like, tag, comment where you're coming in from. We're going to make this a wonderful day. Today, we're going to be focusing on openness. What is openness? What are we talking about when I mean openness? Being open to what's going on inside us. Let's have a conversation. Let's get this thing moving. So please share, like, tag. We'll give it another minute or two, and then we're going to be moving ahead. Bradley Cash is watching. He's in the house. Give a round of applause for Bradley. Wonderful, great guy. Helped me out a few years ago, moving everything from heads up. Brilliant guy, Bradley. Thanks for coming in. Fantastic. So share, like, tag. Let's get everybody on here. We've got a brilliant session this morning. We've got a session that's going to deal with all this kind of uncomfortable stuff, how we're going to actually bear it as we're going through this time. I heard on the news this morning, they're talking about being kind of like this for 3 to 6 months. We've got to learn how to get through this in a really effective, high quality way so that we're not pushing ourselves, we're not killing ourselves, trying to be creative, trying to be new things, opening new businesses. Goodness knows what we're being pressured into by a lot of people now. Don't waste your time, don't waste your time. That's on one side. On the other side, we might have people that are just crashing, getting very scared, getting very lonely, going down that slippery slope into the pit. So we want to keep everybody in the middle, understand that we're going this in the long run. We're going to take our time about this. We're going to learn about ourselves about this, how we're reacting about this. And I'm here to pass on to you my knowledge and experience of crisis and what we can do and build this community so we have our own support and community as we go through this. So Bradley's saying, hi, Dolph, thank you very much. Loving the mental health workout during this lockdown. Thank you, Bradley, for that. Yeah, it is a lockdown. Our freedoms have been very limited from us, taken away almost. It's okay, right? It's not an easy situation. A lot of us are grieving for certain things that we're not able to do anymore. Our businesses, some of us, our businesses have completely either collapsed or just been taken away, or our jobs. We're worried about our friends and family, and we're worried about ourselves. Maybe some of us have experienced loved ones being sick or even passed away. There's a lot of grieving going on. It's not just about being excited and, taking the best and having the most wonderful time with our kids. And time is moving on. All right. So we have to realize this. We have to be compassionate with ourselves about this. Ben is watching. Great. Great to have you, Ben. Ben Sedley was on last night on the talk show, and I've got some great stuff that we learned from Ben. We've also had Amy Murrell on the talk show last night. You can get these recordings still on my Facebook or on my YouTube page, and you will be able to watch what we learned from them, but I'll try and bring some of that this morning. Kevin Dykes is in. Fantastic. Share, like, tag, put it in the comments where you're coming from. Let's build this community. Let's get to know one another. There's some people coming in here every day now, the same people. That's fantastic. This is what we're going to build. We're going to build our repertoire. We're going to build our skills. And we've got to understand that we're all here. We're all here in it together. And this is a very, very, very important part of this. It's not all about workout. It's about togetherness. Okay, and we learned a lot of that from Ben last night about the power of thinking about each other, the power of reaching out to other people. And this is really important. Thomas is in the house. A round of applause for Thomas. Fantastic. And Debbie's here. Wow. So wave to Debbie, Ben. Look, guys, this is about coming in and spending, wow, a small part of the day together, right? It's late morning in the UK. It's at night time, if I'm not mistaken, in New Zealand, where Ben's coming in from. So it's all about just making space, all right? If you were listening to Amy last night, Amy is a wonderful, wonderful woman with extraordinary experiences that she gave over to us. She lives like this every day of her life. Okay, we're living like this because there's a coronavirus out there. She has a genetic condition that she is hyper allergic, could die almost from many, many, many things that are around. And she lives like this. And she gave over amazing, amazing advice and tips for us. And one of them was that you try and expand yourself, be aware of what's going on and expand, be open to what's happening to you and expand. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So that's what it's about. Ben was bringing in about how even when we're thinking of somebody else, even when we're considering somebody else, even when we're making some committed action towards somebody else, whether it's a telephone call or whether it's just, going shopping for somebody that can't do shopping. My personal example is my next door neighbor phones me up on a regular basis and asks me if I need anything. Now, as it happens, I don't really need anything, but the fact that he is calling me, I know that there's somebody thinking about me. I know if I'm in trouble, I know that there's somebody I can call. Makes a world of difference. So even while we're watching this, let's consider together, who is it that you could call? Let's consider who is it that you could call if you needed somebody. Put it down in the comments. Who is it you can consider, even think about and help, whether it's a neighbor, a friend, a family member, it doesn't matter, a stranger. Ben was telling us last night, even trying to help his charities and giving charity, and that's very important as well. So put in the comments who you could help, who you could think about, and who you could turn to. And if there's nobody you can turn to, well, then that's what we are here for. We're a community in ourselves. We're trying to build this mutual help toward each other, and surely one of us will be able to know somebody that can help you out. So bring it in. Let's use this time to help and have self-compassion and compassion for each other that are in this group. This is what this is all about. So openness is about being willing and open to feel those emotions that are going through us and acknowledge the thoughts that we're having. And Ben was saying this wonderfully, where a lot of us are grieving. We're feeling sad. We might be feeling frustrated. We might be feeling angry. There's a lot of emotion that we're going to be experiencing during these days. And if we're in this for the medium term, at least, then it's really important that we sit down, slow down, and begin to recognize what's going on inside our bodies. Now, this is an exercise that takes practice, because generally speaking, when we start to feel and recognize what's going on in our bodies and our minds, sometimes a lot of the time, this is very, very uncomfortable. And so we then dash away from it, or we do something else. So we make ourselves busy and we try to run away from this. So what I'm trying to say just now is let's go back and slow down, sit down and just contemplate. Try to identify what's going on in your body. Hear those thoughts. When you have thoughts, see these clouds behind me? Well, normally these clouds are moving by. And I suggest you take one of those thoughts and you just kind of pin it on one of the clouds. And as you're sitting there, just watch it slowly go on by. Amy came up with a wonderful exercise, and that is, while we're doing this, put a hand on your heart. Feel the warmth of your hand against your skin. And as she told us, it produces oxytocin. That's the love drug, the natural one that we have inside our bodies. This will give us that warmth, that feeling of closeness, that feeling of being loved that we crave as human beings. We crave this physical contact as human beings. And at the moment, we're not allowed physical contact. So it's not all about jumping around. This is not a motivational session. This is not a, go to the gym and hear the loud music. This is about reality. This is about dealing with what's going on and not ignoring it. So just put your hand on your heart there. Take a deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth. And just be with me. Connect with me while we're doing this. Louis saying, hi, Dov. I'm now working from home in my quiet room for 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday. What would you recommend to maintain my concentration levels? Well, great question, Louis. One of the things about concentration is we do need to give space in between. We are not good at concentration for long times. It can tire us out. And we know that concentration starts to go down even after about 15, 20 minutes, certainly after 45. So give yourself space. Give yourself breaks. Even if you feel you will need some downtime, give yourself the downtime. You can become more creative afterwards and much more productive. I would imagine one thing in your work is to be productive. It's not just about working through the 8 hours. It's about being productive in those 8 hours. So just even as you sit there with me and take this time out, which is extremely contributing to your focus. Because now what you're doing is you're practicing focus. You're practicing focus inwardly. And as we practice focus inwardly, it's like a muscle. It's like our brain is doing a focusing exercise. So hand over heart, give yourself that boost of oxytocin and focus in. Identify like a scientist, like an observer. Identify for something going on in here. Maybe there's something going on here. Maybe you have tingling going on here. Whatever it is, just focus in on it. If anyone's got any questions or anything they want to ask, they can do this in the comments as we go along. This is what this session is for. Just notice your thoughts, whether they're pleasant ones or whether they're unpleasant ones, and just stick it on one of those clouds back there. Now, one thing that's really important when we're being open is to have kindness towards yourself. And part of being kind towards yourself is noticing and observing what's going on. And then we feel the emotion that's attached with that. And it's okay to feel the emotion that's attached with it. Just sit and feel the emotion right now. Mary's joined us. Great, Mary. Write in the comments if you're feeling the emotion. Write, I'm feeling the emotion. Write it in. Let's build a community. I'm feeling the emotion. Write it in. Slow down. What we want to develop here is an emotional courage. Because we'll need this emotional courage to come in contact with all this emotion. And as we come in contact with it, we'll start to feel it. Yeah, I don't promise it's a comfortable journey, but I do promise it's a worthwhile one. So just sit here, give yourself that kindness, hold yourself and feel the emotion. Louis, this helps with your focus because what gets in the way of focus is distracting thoughts, disturbing thoughts, body sensations that are uncomfortable. We get fidgety, we get irritable, and this takes us away from our focus. So in order to help us manage that, we need to become familiar with that irritability. We need to become familiar with those strange sensations that we feel in our body. Avril's in. Avril's in the house. Fantastic. Malcolm Firth is already feeling more relaxed. Now, it's not all about being relaxed, but if you're feeling relaxed, I'm not going to knock it, am I? It's about getting to know, getting to feel, spending this time with each other now. We're all a community together, and we're all going through this same thing right now together. We all experience this in different ways. We all experience this in our own unique ways because of our own unique history and in our own unique experiences. But we're having a common experience as well. And that's what this is all about. So learning from Amy, one of the things she says was, start to expand. When you feel that you're getting, shrinking into that almost defense position, when you're feeling really like you might be crashing, when you're feeling that things are getting overwhelming and you're feeling that things are getting too much for you, and you're getting closer to doing nothing, and eventually you might be kind of getting into your bed. Now you're going to be pulling the covers and you're not going to be doing anything, and you're kind of really crashing down. Amy's been there. And what does she say? She had to force herself to start opening up, force herself to start expanding, force herself to start doing things, whether it was starting to dance in the house like a mad woman just because she could, whether it was just saying to herself that she can expand, whether it's metaphorically opening up, feeling vulnerable when we're open like this, but we're living, okay? And as Ben said, let's add what Ben said, connect with what our values are. Remember that because we like doing something, something is important to us. Just because we did it one way up until we were locked down doesn't mean we can't still fulfill these values, but by a different way. Kevin is here. Fantastic. Kevin is feeling a bit irritable sometimes. And Avril says, too easy to run away from our feelings. Yeah. We are so well rehearsed in running away from our feelings in our society because of lots and lots of problems that we have, this running away from our feelings. And this session that we're doing, this Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing workout, is not called that for nothing. This session is developing our well-being. It really is a workout. I asked Amy when she said, put your hand over your heart, even if it's for 10 seconds. And I said to her, I'm going to be asked, how is it possible that 10 seconds can make a difference? And she says it does. When you're overwhelmed, where you're feeling that world caving in on you, even that 10 seconds of doing something will start the journey, the small steps of beginning to open up and beginning to take on the world, even though it's hard, and even though it's difficult, and even though it's frustrating, and even though we've got all sorts of mixture of emotions, whether it's grief or whether it's anger, but we start to do things. We start to push forward and go off on the journey, go off in what we need to do because it's important for us to do it, because we've chosen our life that we want to lead in a certain way. And these are our values. And our values might be having concern for our loved ones. It might be for contributing to society. So we're going to phone our charities, we want to see what we can do. Or it might be that we want to be great neighbors. And having a good relationship with our neighbors is important. So my neighbor phones me and he says, are you all right, Dov? Right? So we can fulfill our values even though we can't go outside and do it. We can do it from where we are, but in a different form. Okay, so it's not about the form, it's about the process that's underneath. So Kevin says he's feeling irritable sometimes. And Kevin, this is natural. If you weren't feeling irritable sometimes, and even maybe a lot between us, I know I do. Under these circumstances, then we would have to start talking about it. Now, when we're feeling irritable, under these circumstances, this is what our body is saying. Our body is saying, look, guys, I know we're in an unusual situation. And how does our mind and body tell us? By all sorts of movement inside, all sorts of chemicals and hormones moving inside as message carriers to tell us that it knows. And we feel that. We feel the irritability. We feel not being so relaxed sometimes. And we feel that what we might call anxiety inside. And that's right. That's what we should be feeling. All right. It's very uncomfortable. But this is part of our defense mechanism. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't live more than 2 days because we would not even see any dangers. So how do we deal with that, Kevin? We sit down, we put our hand over our heart. You can put your hand on your tummy as well. And you can offer the antidote to this kind of irritability, that you're not alone, that you're safe. Look around you. What's really in your control is your safety. You're not in imminent danger. Things around you are in order. If you were in imminent danger, you wouldn't be watching this. So just sit there with it and become familiarized with that irritability. I get irritability most mornings in my tummy. Today I woke up and I noticed it wasn't there. That was also an interesting observation. So just sit with that. Kevin, write in if you're feeling the emotion, if you're feeling the irritability, and that you're getting familiar with it. Everybody, write in if you're beginning to get familiar with these uncomfortable body sensations. Right, I'm getting familiar. Let's share what we're feeling with each other. Let's share what experiences we're having with each other, because it's comforting to know that we're not just on our own here. This is what it's all about. So we can have self-talk that doesn't have to be literal, but it's self-talk, metaphorical, of making room, creating space for that irritability, making room and creating space for that uncomfortable, anxious feeling that we have. Sometimes the feeling of fear. Make space for it. Sit there and allow it to be there. Malcolm's getting familiar. Fantastic. This is work. It's not called a workout for nothing, right? We need to do this work. So sitting here and make space. Just feel it expanding. Feel your mind expanding, your body expanding. Understand the knowledge that you're able to do this. And even if you're doing what I'm doing now with my hands, your mind takes signals from your body. So sitting up straight and opening up will send signals to your brain that you're feeling maybe vulnerable, but safe. Debbie says, I can really identify with the sense of being overwhelmed by feelings. Now I'm feeling guilt and anxiety. Yeah, Amy talked about that guilt. Sometimes we get the guilt because we're all right, Sometimes we're getting guilt because, oh my goodness, I'm not utilizing this time the way I should be. I should be doing so much more, but I'm staying in bed late, or I'm pottering around the house, or maybe even just sitting doing nothing. And the guilt comes on. And anxiety, yeah, definitely, Debbie, we're going to be feeling that anxiety. So yeah, the guilt. So take the thoughts that come with that guilt. We might have a thought that says, oh no, I should be doing much more with my time. Take that thought and stick it on one of those clouds and just sit there and watch the cloud go by. Enjoy the scene. In fact, if there's clouds in the sky where you are, you might even be able to just look out the window, or if you have the possibility of being in the garden, and just stick one of your thoughts on a real cloud and just watch it go by. Malcolm's talking about melting in the couch until tomorrow. Look, Malcolm, you can do that without guilt. We're in a situation where we need to have self-compassion and kindness. And sometimes we just need that downtime. If we choose to do it and we're not being dragged into it, then that's a good thing. Yeah, I've slowed my whole day right down. I might be doing longer hours. I'm working like 17 hours now in a day. I've got editing to do, preparation to do. I've got a whole talk show going. I've got this every morning. But in between, I've got also downtime. Then I sit down and take stock, and I give myself these self-kindness hugs. I'm here on my own. I'm in lockdown. But I'm not lonely, because I have a sense of community with all of you and all the people that I'm contacting and all the people that I'm in contact with, and people are calling me, and we have a great sense of being together, even though it's not physically. Avril says, I'm worried that young people with no underlying conditions are dying from this virus. I feel a lack of control. We only have control over our reactions. Absolutely, Avril. One of the things we need to do is to distinguish what's in my control and what's not in my control. What's not in my control is exactly that. There's nothing we can do about it. We're going to get thoughts about that. We're going to get feelings about what's not in my control. Take those thoughts, whatever comes up. Avril's thought of, I'm worried that people with no underlying conditions are dying from the virus. Take that thought exactly as it is and stick it on one of those clouds. And then just watch the cloud as it goes up away into the distance. There's nothing you can do about that. If you try to fight that thought, if you try to say there's something wrong with having that thought, you're going to feel that in your body and your anxiety is going to go up. If you say this thought is normal to have these thoughts, it's just that that thought is not helping me all that well right now to have that thought, then just stick it on a cloud and watch it go by. On the other hand, you've got things that are in control. And you quite rightly said, how we respond to this situation is in our control. So one of the things we have in control is over our own bodies. So wiggle your fingers. That sounds silly, but it shows that you're in control. Give yourself that hug and feel the oxytocin, feel the love, feel the bodily connection. Sit up straight. This is a good response that you can have immediate control of. Take a deep breath. It has so many therapeutic things attached to having a deep breath, and it shows that we're in control. Look around the room. Pick out 4 things that you can see. Name them. Then pick out 3 things that you can hear. Name them. And then pick out 2 things that you can feel touching your skin and name them. Just that simple exercise will bring you out of that overwhelmness, because using your senses, sight, hear, taste, feel, smell, brings you into this present moment, and you're safest in this present moment. Haley Lee is watching, is in the house. Fantastic. Share, like, and comment where you're coming from. Any questions? So Debbie's saying guilt because I'm terminally ill and feel that I'm an added anxiety to my family. I have so much training experience that might be of use to others in this extraordinary time, but I am being shielded. Debbie, if you've got something that you can offer others, this is the place to offer it. Tell me what you want. I'll bring you on the show. We'll start tomorrow. If you're ready to give committed action and you feel there's something you can offer, then you come to the right place and I'll bring you on and we'll offer it tomorrow morning. If that's a go, say it's a go in the comments. Being terminally ill, you know, these are things that you will generate disturbing and distressing thoughts and worried thoughts. And of course, that's completely normal. So I would like you to teach us how you deal with that. I don't want to shield you from anything. I want to give you vitality right at this very moment. So if you can help us, then put in the comments, I'm in, and I will invite you on to tomorrow morning's show and we'll work together on this. You give us of what you have. You give us of what you experience. This is not about me. This is about us helping each other. You don't need to be shielded. You need to be vitalized. And I'm ready to offer you that possibility. If it's something that matters to you, if it's something that's important to you, you have the opportunity now. So you say here you have training experience. Give it over to us. Lloyd Faber's in the house. Fantastic. Join the community. So we're talking here about what we can do, how we can be open to the anxieties and the thoughts and the body feelings and the fear that we're going through. You know, when I go outside and I go to the shops, I got to admit, I'm pretty terrified because every time somebody comes near me, I'm like, oh my goodness, are you getting too close? Is it 2 meters? Is it not 2 meters? Who knows? So our thoughts are going to be going over time. Our body sensations are going to be in hyper mode. How do we deal with that? Well, Avril says, I'm going to recommend these talks to groups and other groups I belong to. Well, that's committed action. Recommend them, share them, bring them on. This is about being together. With you, Debbie, being in the grips of terminal illness, but now recovered, thank God you're in my prayers. Wonderful. This is what it's about. It's about us helping each other. This is not just about listening to me. This is not a lecture in university. This is a community and it's about helping each other. And so whatever you've got, chip in and we'll learn skills together from each other. Malcolm is a great friend of mine. He's got amazing skills. Malcolm, would you be interested in coming on one of our shows in the morning and giving over some of your experience? Would you be in for that? If you're up for that, write in the comments, I'm up for that. And we'll invite you in. We're in this for the long term, guys, right? We've got to take it easy. We've got to learn from each other. Every single one of us here has experience that the other one doesn't have. And we can help each other, all right? So really, if you've got something to offer, great. If you feel that you don't have, just come in and join in anyway. There's no guilt here. We're totally open with each other here. There's no judgment going on here. This is about how we're going to help each other. So giving yourself that hand on the heart that Amy came up with, to give herself that connection to our values and finding ways of materializing them, finding ways of doing them, even if not the normal ways that we used to, like Ben told us yesterday. And having that self-kindness, being aware of the pain that we have, giving space for the pain we have, but building that emotional courage to get out there and do the things that we need to do. And when I say out there, I mean in the space that we have. And as Amy said, open up the space in your life, even if you have to open up your hands, even if you have to dance around, even if you have to kind of do things, even though you don't feel like doing them, do them anyway. Malcolm says, Sabbath only, Dov, working in camps from tomorrow. Friday is good. Friday is good for me. So we're going to have Malcolm in the house on Friday morning at 11 o'clock. All right, just before we go, guys, I want to say every morning at 11 a.m. UK time. Second thing, I want to say every single day this week on the YouTube channel or right here on the Facebook Live, I'm going to have guests on my virtual conference, Corona Views. That's my nickname for it. And they've got the top leading psychologists, researchers, and authors from all around the world. We had Ben from New Zealand. We had Amy from Texas, and she's in Memphis. Came on here yesterday. We had Tom Tsubo. We're going to have lots and lots of people coming on here every single day. So keep track of my Facebook page for updates on the timetable. So tonight we have at 7 o'clock tonight here on this channel, 7 o'clock tonight, we have Yori Gidron, an amazing expert on dealing with crisis. He will show us really amazing breathing techniques and a whole bunch of other things that we can help ourselves and help our family. He's on tonight right here at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. Don't rely on the replays because they won't be there for very long. Adam Layton is watching. He's in the house. Suri Rabinovitz is watching. So we're just closing it off now, guys. But Malcolm's going to be in here at 11 a.m. on Friday. I'm going to be back here at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you, Dov. A timely reminder of what I already know. I'm in behind the camera. Fantastic, Debbie. See everybody tomorrow at 11 a.m. for another amazing Total Mind Fitness workout. And if you can, come at 7 o'clock tonight, UK time, for an amazing chat with Yori Gidron. Have a good day, everybody. Nice having you in. Take care.